p.m. in the evening. This is the meeting of the Belgrade Board of Appeals. And we could have a roll call, please, of the members present. I'm Michael Haynell, chairperson. Dave Bonner.
Present.
Norma Blazer. Norma. Is she muted, Anthony?
She is not muted, but her computer looks like it's connecting to the audio right now. There we go. Norma, can you hear us? You're muted, Norma.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks.
Okay. And Richard Bourne.
Good evening.
Good evening. And Anthony Wilson. Thank you for joining us. So
Always a pleasure.
all members are present. We have a quorum. The first order of business, new business, we need to approve the minutes of the January 13th meeting that was held, and has everyone had a chance to review those minutes so far? And does everyone have any changes? They were quite lengthy at this time, and I don't see any issues with them at this point myself. Does anyone else have any issues?
I think they're fine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I believe they're fine.
Okay, thank you. Norma?
I'm good with them.
Okay, very good. So we'll take a roll call to approve those minutes, please. Michael Haynell, yes.
Mike, I think we need a motion to
Oh, I'm
approve. I'll
sorry.
make that motion.
I'm not feeling myself tonight, so so could we have entertain a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
In a second.
I second it.
Thank you. So all in favor, we'll take a roll call. I'm in favor. Mr. Bourne,
I'm in favor.
Mr. Bonner,
I'm in favor.
and Norma Blazer.
Yes, I am in favor.
Thank you. So the motion carries 4-0 to approve the minutes of the January 13th meeting, excuse me. The next item on the agenda is an appeal to review an application of a variance dated February 3rd, 2021, filed by Angel E. Dyer, related to Belgrade building permit number 90-10, issued back on August 19th, 2010, to Tracy Markham for a project at 670 Manchester Road. Has everyone had a chance to look at the application?
I have.
I know it was pretty lengthy. It's like 41 pages. Dave, have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it and taken a
No,
look at it.
And Norma?
I don't think I have 41 pages, but I have what the town office sent me.
Okay, okay. Well, I probably misstated. I know it's quite lengthy, but anyways. So where do we begin? Does Mr. Bourne, what do you, after your review, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure this appeal is ripe for consideration by the board. And I feel that way because if you look at section 6H of the minimum lot size ordinance, there's a very clear process for the handling of enforcements. Since this is an ordinance violation, it involves an enforcement. And I don't see any evidence that the code enforcement officer has, the town has taken the steps prescribed for them to do as yet. So until we hear the results of that work, it seems to me that the application for variance is premature.
So Dick, is that a standing or timeliness or jurisdiction issue?
That's a process issue. It would remain to be seen whether we have jurisdiction or not. If the town does not go forward with their enforcement actions, I certainly could see that as being considered an issue of jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you.
Mike?
Dave? Yes.
Thank you. Dick, thank you very much for bringing that up. I had a little bit of a question about that. I think the proper thing, and in light of, Richard's comments, and I think in light of our review of it, would be to refer it back to the town and see what their action is and what enforcement action, if any, they're going to take, and then we can make a decision as to whether or not we have jurisdiction.
I have a standing question. So the ordinance states that an aggrieved party needs to be the one to file a request for variance. So who is the aggrieved? I'm not quite sure I understand who the aggrieved party is, if it's the landowner on which the garage sits or the neighbor next door.
From my perspective, Ms. Dyer is an aggrieved party as the owner of the property, certainly, but there are, I think, some other issues involved before we get to that particular point.
So Dick, what would you recommend that we do as a board? You have more experience in this than I do exactly, but.
I support Dave Bonner's recommendation that we refer it back to the town to see whether they're going to pursue an enforcement action. And I think it's important to recognize that if we don't do that, downstream, there could be some questions as to whether we've acted appropriately. So I think that's by far the safest route to go.
Okay. Do you have any further thoughts on that, Dave?
No, I think Richard expressed it very well. And I really think we ought to refer it back and have them make a decision of whether or not they're going to take an enforcement action. Then we'll decide what we can do from there. Go ahead, Richard.
One other comment that I would make is that if we go that route, this whole issue might conceivably be resolved without without our having to partake of a of a decision on a variance appeal, which could work out to be very favorable to the applicant.
Yep, that makes sense.
I think I think the thing we have to keep in mind that, we serve the people of the community, and we don't want to be a hindrance to them any more than we have to be. And I certainly think that we're taking the right step by sending it back and letting them make a determination so that Ms. Dyer has an opportunity to do whatever.
Okay. Norma, do you have any other? Comment?
No, I guess I hear what you say, Dick, Bourne, but it seemed to me like she was trying to preclude an enforcement action or to get ahead of it, I guess, and have it seemed to have a variance declared in her favor, so she did not have to deal with the adjacent property owner over that particular issue. I'm not saying that's our problem, but there's no accommodation for that situation, right? You don't read that in the ordinance at all. And the town has to pursue action first.
That's my understanding from my brief reading of the ordinance, but I think, to be honest, I am referring to Dick on this because he's sat in a lot of seats before and has a lot of experience in this. So if that's amenable to you folks, do you want to make a motion on that to send it back to the town and we'll take a vote? That, Dick?
I'll also move.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a motion to send this request back to the town that Ms. Dyer has appealed and for their enforcement action or a review of for. So we'll take a vote. Roll call. I'm in
Mike,
favor of it.
Yeah, Mike, before we vote on this, under question on the motion, can we add a segment in there, Richard, that would give them a time frame? Because I don't want to see this drag on into the summertime, and realizing we've got some left before things thaw out. But by the same token, I'd rather see her get some resolution.
I don't see why we couldn't put a time frame on it. What are you thinking? Something like 30 days?
I'm perfectly amenable to 30 days if we can do that. And I'd be willing to make a motion for an amendment to Richard's original motion.
Well, couldn't we just make his motion complete? One
Sure.
motion complete?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Norma.
I would ask, will they state the issues precisely in the the word back to us? There'll be we'll get some kind of paperwork, Dick? Is that what you're saying?
I would certainly hope that we got some formal notification that they had proceeded with an enforcement action and they'd taken certain steps and arrived at certain conclusions. And, if it's their conclusion that that there's no means of resolution other than a application for variance, then certainly we can entertain an application for variance. I think without getting into the merits of any of the information that we've seen so far, I just call attention to the fact that being able to secure a variance for a setback is an extremely difficult hurdle to reach.
Mhm.
And so the probability of a denial as opposed to an approval is rather high in these kinds of cases. So it would be, I think, appropriate to make sure that they look for any alternative means, hopefully to make it simple and straightforward for Ms. Dyer to reach her goal. And I'll leave it at that.
So can we include then that, ask a request for the report or some kind of written report, or will we just wait and see if they send it to us?
If I may weigh in here, I can assure you guys that we will jump on this post haste like tomorrow. And once the code enforcement officer has concluded his investigation and determined whether or not an enforcement action is appropriate in this case, we will definitely communicate that to the appeals board. And again, with all due speed.
Can we just set a date of April 1st? Does that appease everyone?
Well, if the 45 days, if her date counts, is March 24th. That's 42 days is our next meeting. That will be 42 days from the day we got this. Now, I don't know whether it kicks in until it's not accepted yet, right?
Correct.
So the clock is not ticking, right?
Right.
Okay,
It's correct as far as I know.
okay.
Another thought would be that we don't necessarily need to hold the 30 days absolute. We could say give the town up to 30 days to get back to us. Just so that it could be expedited. If it came back in 15 days, we could maybe expedite the process.
Norma, for your purposes, I would think that there should be a sentence included into Richard's motion, not to exceed 30 days. And that way,
Sure, that works for me.
That covers it. Okay with that, Norma?
May I read how I think this motion
Yes, please.
sits now? Okay.
Yes, please.
Dick Bourne is moving that we return this application to the town and ask if they would investigate and make a determination whether they intend to proceed with an enforcement action. And if they do, will they notify us? And possibly this is all resolved and we don't have to have an application. We don't have to entertain an application for appeal, for a variance. How's that? Is that it, Dick?
Yell at me again and I'll bean you.
Shh, quiet.
Did that get the whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. You
Yes.
can wordsmith it a little bit different tomorrow if you want, but that's good.
What did you say, Mike?
I say you can tweak it tomorrow if you'd like, but that's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you. I'll give it to you then. I'll do the best I can and run it by you.
Okay. So are we all in agreement? So are we all set to,
Vote.
want to make another motion or we already have one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. All right, we'll have a roll call on that motion. Michael Hano, I'm in favor of. Mr. Bonar,
Dave?
Dave,
In favor.
Mr. Bourne,
In favor.
and Norma Blazer.
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. The motion is carried 4-0. So we'll wait for the notification from Gary or Anthony or whoever and gets back to us no later than 30 days from today. And our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for when, Norma?
March 24.
Okay. That's our regularly scheduled meeting anyway, right?
Right.
Okay. Very good. Is there anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved, seconded?
I second it.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Michael Hano, yes. Mr. Bonar,
Yes.
Mr. Bourne,
Yes.
Norma Blazer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mike.